Jatosh Herbert's 100 harem. The first thing they organize is a layout of just where the hot zones are and where the detected axiom eddies were. It's not a perfect matchup, but it's close. Of course it would heavily favor the lower depths. I keep telling you all that we need to do something about them. Do you have any idea how many billions of credits go into each level of those slums every year? Per spire? It's obscene. I've audited entire planets with half the budget, and a tenth the crime due to proper allocation. And just what is the proper allocation, you... Herbert sighs as arguments kick off as people start disagreeing. It's the problem that paralyzes the council and any of its subsidiary senates. There is simply too many things to focus on. And even if you have the best of the best focusing on it, they can't get anything done without barreling into at least two other people, trying to solve the issues from different directions. A combination of the three stooges in bureaucracy ironically functioning properly. After all, it was designed so everyone could have their say. It was just that there were too many people. He walks up to the floating display of centrists. There are two of them in total, one for each hemisphere. The projectors are from above and below, so his walking underneath does not interfere with the map, as he simply empties his mind of the petty squabbles erupting around him, calms his heartbeat, and breathes deeply. Considering, thinking, observing, and micro-eddies? He notes oddly as he spots something. He looks around a little more and spots the technician before rushing over. He's gallingly shorter than even a goob at this point. When the growth spurts hit him again, they are going to suck. "Excuse me, miss," he asks the bored-looking woman, and she pauses her video and turns to him, shocked at being addressed when there are so many big wigs around. "Hello, do you have a moment? I have some questions about the display." "Sure, I'm mostly here to press buttons and put up the right displays at the right time anyways," she says, storing her communicator between her breasts, and he smiles at her. A blush darkens her green cheeks for a moment before she frowns. "Hey now, none of that. I know you're more married than I like my man. Keep it to your girls." "Sorry, just trying to be polite." "Well, stop it. You're much too cute to do that without the wrong idea getting out," she chides him. "Now, what is it you're wondering about?" "I found something odd in the display, and I want to make sure it's not the equipment on the fritz in some way," he says, and she raises an eyebrow at that. "Let me show you." He leads her into the display and then indicates a micro pocket. There's not that many of them, but when they do show up, they show up in a small line along the bottom 10 of a spire. All perfectly lined up. It's either a clue or a persistent equipment bug. Most eddies are large enough to have a glow that's about the size of his fist, and they paint massive portions of the spires. But these ones are maybe the size of a pin's point, like a single stuck pixel in a computer screen. The technician follows his finger and clearly sees the little highlights before he steps to the next nearest one and shows it as well. After the fourth, she has her communicator back out and is linked with the system as she tries to find the source. Compared to the actual eddies and alerts, the little dots on the map are inconsequential, but they're too consistent. "The code is matching up. This isn't a glitch," the technician says as she double-checks the data source. The scans of centrists detected numerous axiom eddies of an absolutely tiny size going down in sequence in the slum levels of many spires. "Expanded space?" Herbert asks. "No, these markings are indicators of how large the eddy is, including expanded space," she tells him, and he nods. "So across..." He scans the maps. 100 spires, there are a series of micro-eddies hiding something going down in a straight line. He then walks up to the nearest one and focuses on the map itself to get a good location for where the eddies are, before looking around to see that the pattern is repeated. So they're nearby the leftmost central support pillar and near where it meets the ceiling. He leans closer before looking back to the technician. "Is this to scale?" "It is," she says, and he nods. "Well, it looks like this micro-eddies are right on them, but at the scale we're seeing on their likely a meter? 2 meters away? Either way, they're very close to these pillars, close enough to use the pillar as a brace if you climb to get up there." He notes. "Wait, the pillars of the bottom 10 are climbable?" the technician asks, and he turns with a smile. "They are. See this bit of roughness on the model? Those are gripping points that you can climb up or hook equipment into. The upper levels think they're ugly, But this lets even the lowest wage repair woman climb up and fix things with a minimum of equipment or preparation. You can see them in big structures on rougher worlds too. A lot of buildings are meant to be climbed so that you can get up and fix them without setting up scaffolding. For the smaller ones, you'll still need a hover platform or scaffolding on the bigger problems. She says, and he nods in agreement. She is right after all. Right, which means I need to send out a call. I've got a... Oh, that's Spire. Nice. This will work, he says. Ven Spire, she asks. Yep, I've got some projects there trying to give the ubiquitous slums a kick in the pants. See if there's something we can do to help. How's that been going? We've put together a freedom railroad and have improved the lives of a lot of people while quelling chaos. But getting the economy to actually work down there is easier said than done. Most people just want out rather than wanting to stick around and make things better. And if we offer any contract that requires them to stay in the area, well, no one wants to sign those and we can't exactly force it, he says, and she huffs. There's more than that. A lot more, lady. I'm part of undaunted government intelligence. For every little thing I say, there's an entire book's worth of information or details being redacted. A coloring book, no doubt, with your cybersecurity, she notes, and Herbert snorts before giving her a sideways look. What? You hacked us, didn't you? If I did. She looks around at the army of officials she's surrounded by, and that was not in any way an admission. At that point, he considers offering her a job. Then I would merely be one among many trillions who did not so much defeat your security, but failed to notice you had any to begin with, she says primly. Well, if you were to have tried in the recent past, and I'm not saying you have, would you have any suggestions for our cybersecurity? He asks, and she laughs. The initial hack was effectively yesterday to me, little human. This gobe is older than your written language. We have basic writing going back at least 8,000 years, he states, and she raises an eyebrow and smirks. And you're still single? I've outlived my family no less than 14 times, and refuse to start with sloppy seconds again, she says, and he pauses, considers, turns it over in his mind, and then kicks this mental knot into the garbage can where it belongs. He has nothing to consider on that angle. She is old, currently single, and not interested in him. Unless more comes up, that needs to be the end of it. He needs to be more friendly and less tempting, which is fine. He has too many problems and assets to consider to get in the romantic drama of a stranger. Even if one could track her life through history textbooks and archaeological discoveries. I can see the processor overheating through your eyes, she mocks him. Just wondering why you're not fabulously wealthy or powerful with that kind of time to build up. I am. My money is in stocks and assets. I just think that most fancy clothing itches and most fancy food tastes awful. Also, I hate being bored, so I keep a job for entertainment. You're a trusted technician of the Galactic Council. Basic entertainment. It's not like their security checks have anything to find on me. I'm cleaner than the Council itself. Well, some fossils are best preserved in vacuum sealing. He sasses her and she snorts so hard she actually makes a bit of a mess of her face, and she quickly cleans herself up. Don't sass me like that. I nearly snorted my brains out, she chides him as she giggles. She gets control of herself. Warn me next time. But that would ruin the joke, he protests, and she swats him in the chest with the back of her hand. Then she sobers up, seemingly instantly, and regards the model of Centris. 1,000 micro-eddies scattered throughout the planet. They're all spaced out over fairly large areas, and if I'm not mistaken, the vast majority are in particularly bad slums, the kinds of places that give the rest of the bottom 10 a truly gruesome reputation, she says. And in Ven Spire, we're trying to reverse that madness, meaning we already have people in place to check at least those micro-eddies. Herbert notes, I think you're getting to a place where I can't listen to you any further. The technician says, Is that so? My apologies. I assumed without an ear horn I could say anything in your august Kukensian-Kopf presence, he says, and she gives him a very unimpressed look that quickly fades into amusement. You know, most people don't bother giving me lip, she says fondly. I noticed I'm making up for the deficit, he remarks. Besides, it's never a bad idea to make a new friend. Oh? Friends are we? Then what's my name? Eli Var. He answers, and she pauses before checking and making sure that yes, her ID is in her pocket and hasn't been moved from it. You know who everyone's name is, don't you? It's me job, miss, he says, and the accent makes her pause before laughing and walking off. Talk to your little friends. Finding those micro-eddies is something you need to jump on, now isn't it? She asks. All right, slave driver. He mocks her and receives a chuckle for it. He pulls out his communicator and calls a specific number. Hey, can you get Big M to check out this location? He takes a picture of the indicator of the micro-eddy on level 8 of Venspire. He receives confirmation that his message is being passed on almost immediately. The fun thing about understanding gravity is that it opens up very many pathways that most simply do not consider. For instance, instead of wasting his time climbing up the spire, support hand over hoof and hoping to not fall, he simply reoriented his gravity towards the spire and walks up with ease, then reorients it again when he reaches the top and quickly finds the indicated micro-eddy. He crouches down and finds a tiny panel with a small handle that he turns to the side and it releases. There is nothing in the small hole as he holds onto the panel to stop it from falling, but the underside of the panel itself is unusual and unpleasant to look at. It seems almost normal. A circuit board made of a strange metal and kutha with 6 chips, 5 along the outside in a pentagon and a larger central one. Whatever the metal is, something deep within him recognizes it as danger, and not the obvious danger of a predator. It's far deeper and more disturbing than seeing a hostile Condor smile or witnessing a disaster firsthand. Are you getting this? He asks into the microphone in his suit lapel. We are. Several of the components are clearly blood metal. The central chip sits on top of a Kutha restoration array has our concern. Can it be safely lifted? His handler asks, and he slowly reaches into his coat and pulls out a pair of pliers. He doesn't want to touch any of these components, and just handling the outer shell is uncomfortable. The chip lifts off with ease and reveals a protein flake along the underside. He sets it back into position and then slowly unfastens and checks each of the other 5 chips. They each contain half of an array and conceal the other half simultaneously. I do not recognize these patterns, he says into his microphone, nor do we. Whatever they're doing, they're feeding it into the protein. This is an antenna of some kind. But the question is, what is it receiving, and where is the other end? Moriarty notes. Get to drop-off point Epsilon 4. We'll have someone take this thing off your hands, and a bonus for you. A bonus? You're here to help quell a slum. You've gone above and beyond today. So you get paid above and beyond. Only fair. Fair indeed, Moriarty notes with a slight smile.